It's like a mom, not like a mother.
All right, guys. We are in Megillat Ruth, Perek Gimel, Pasuk Yud Aleph. That's 3:11. And we're in the middle of the discussion in the barn where Boaz was trying to sleep after celebrating a good harvest and guarding his barn. And in the middle of the night, he wakes up and he finds at his feet, he finds a woman sitting there, and turns out that was Ruth, who is there to ask him to help her, to marry her, because he's related. We learned that the reason for her to feel that he should marry her is because of the halachot of Geula, where there is a clear directive in halacha that if someone is in financial trouble, the relative has the first right of refusal to buy their plot, their lot, their real estate. And actually, it's not really first right of refusal. It's actually an obligation to help. So it's not just they're obligated to help.
Do we know how old Ruth is?
And how old? 40. As part of that arrangement, and that's not biblical Torah obligation, they used to also marry the woman if the husband did not leave children. They used to marry her, and if there was brother, it would be Yibum, but there's no Yibum here because the two brothers died, the husbands, both of them died, Machlon and Kilion. So Boaz is not a Yibum, obligated. It's not under that obligation. Anyway, so she thought that he will marry her, and that will be a good solution. So she stated her case to him, and he was finally he realized who she was and what she's there for, and that there are no ill intent or some intention which is not kosher, it's not right in her mind. And he said, Bruchat LaHashem in the previous pasuk, in pasuk Yud, that you're blessed, that your entire behavior from the time you married Machlon, from the time you married a Jew, you were nice to them. Then you stuck with your mother-in-law, then you converted, then you came here, and you're still sticking with your mother-in-law. And I saw you at the collecting in the field, gleaning, and you were very modest the way you were acting, and you were not, trying to play around and mingle with the workers in any way, shape, or form. Stayed very modest and very to yourself. So praising her to high heaven and saying and good for you that you didn't that you're still sticking with your mother-in-law and you're not looking for a young young hunk to get married with, to get married to, and you coming to me because I'm the relative, but I'm 80, not exactly fresh out of school, and she's 40, half his age. So that's where we left off last time. So ve'ata biti al tir'i. So he tells her, my daughter. He's talking to her in a very close, calling her my daughter. Don't fear, don't be afraid. Kol asher tumri eselach. Everything that you will say, I will do to you, which is strange language. What does it mean? Ki yodea kol shar ami ki eshet chaylat. Because everybody knows in the gates of my people, everybody in the plaza, in town center, everybody knows that you are Eshet Chal, that you are a special woman. So what is he telling her, and what is that? So obviously, when someone say, will you marry me, with that many words, if the answer is not yes, so they right away start thinking, okay, I'm toast, now it's just a matter of the reason, it's not going to happen. So right away he's telling her, don't be fearful that I'm just going to push you away because you're not coming from a very special Jewish family. You're not coming from any Jewish family, I'm just going to try to finagle my way or get out of the obligation, or so don't be fearful. That's number one. And also, don't be fearful that you're going to be embarrassed at the end. Because it's very hard for a woman to go and ask, will you marry me? It's not common till this very day. Typically, the man asks, right? And especially if the answer is no, the shame is that much greater when she's being told no, as opposed to when the man is being told no.
Couldn't she have gone to him during the day and talked to him?
So we spoke about it last time. Why was it done in such a way? And the reason we mentioned, one of the reasons we mentioned is that Ruth wanted this to happen. She knew that there is somebody else that have maybe priority, and she just wanted him to make the move, and she just wanted. She wanted to do it in this is it, she's here, and make sure that he's really sees her in a way that he cannot refuse. And we mentioned several other angles on that.
It's also possible that since he was a very eligible man, maybe there were other women who might.
So that's the point is that he was 80 years old, eligible, post eligible. He was 80 years old. He just lost his wife, and he was not really interested. He had a lot of work on his hand. He was the leader of the Jewish people. I don't know about his health, but the fact is that he died a day later. We're talking about the last day of his life right now.
So she lost two husbands.
So 3, but we'll talk about that. He was not really running around looking for a second marriage right now.
Boaz died?
Boaz died the next day, the next night. I mean, the next day.
I missed this last week?
No, you didn't. He's still alive. You didn't miss anything.
We're still talking.
He's still talking. He's alive. He's good. He's alive and well. So the point is that he's telling her, don't be fearful, because everybody knows your story. And everybody knows, because of Naomi, who everybody knew because she was the most important person in town at the time, 10 years earlier. And Boaz is still running the show, is the shofet of the Jewish people. So everybody was talking about this family, this relationship. So everybody knew her, and everybody knew that she's doing the right thing. Now, so what is he saying? Kol asher tomri selach. Because in Yibum there are some laws. In Yibum too, the woman has to agree. This is not forced marriage. If she married, brother one died, the brother two, she has to agree to marry him, or they don't. She just get the chalitza and walks away. But here there is not a yibum, so alachat kama v'kama, more so that she needed to agree to marry him. So he was trying to talk her into agreeing to marry the other guy that has priority.
Who's the other guy? His brother?
His uncle.
His uncle. So he must be
There
even
is
older.
what?
Must be
He must be
100.
even older.
It could have been older, could have been not. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you have, you have movies.
Methuselah.
You have all kinds of movies of that nature. But it's the point is that he wanted her to consider the guy that has the brother of Elimelech Tov, who was more in line, first in line, and should really have the first opportunity to do that. Now, Naomi didn't want all of that because Tov had a wife and children. Boaz didn't. Boaz just lost his wife, and he lost 30 children before, 60 children. He lost a whole bunch of children before. So he was alone. But Boaz, knowing that his position is such that till this very day, somebody in a high position is drawing fire and people talk, and he did not want people to talk and to start thinking that he's pulling strings because of his situation, because of his standing in the Jewish community. So he wanted to convince her to marry the other guy, Tov, and maybe Tov was actually younger, which would be a benefit for her. But I didn't see that anywhere. Anyway, but so that's what he's telling here. V'ata, and he continues and saying, Ki omnam ki im goel anochi v'gam yesh goel karov mimeni. It says, yes, maybe it's true that I am a goel, but it is possible, but there is, and he says im, it's im, the word im, maybe, is written and not read. Okay? V'ata ki goel, he says, maybe I'm a goel, but it's there is someone who is closer than me, and therefore he should be doing it and not me.
Given the first crack.
Exactly. So then he continues with a sentence, Lini halayla, vaya baboker, im yigalech tov. So the thing is, so the thing is now that, so he thought that with that the issue is settled, and now they should just
Didn't she take his clothing to cover her? Didn't she finalize the process?
There was no process over there. In the barn there was just a discussion. There was nothing happened other than the discussion.
Took his clothing to
No, he
cover
said
him
like
like the
last
talus
week.
and the chuppah.
No. She asked. She requested pros knafecha al amatcha. She requested it, but nothing was done. So at that point, it's night. He wouldn't send her out to go back home because it's dangerous and it's far away from the city. And he thought that this is it. Let's just bank here for the night. The problem is that she apparently was restless. She didn't like the answer. She didn't. She thought she wasn't sure yet that he's not just telling her put her off. And she was restless. She was twisting and turning, not able to fall asleep. So he told her, listen, stay here tonight. Lini halayla. Just sleep tonight. And in the morning, im yigalech tov yigal, v'im lo yachpotz yigalech, v'galtich anochi chai Hashem shechvi ad haboker. She said, sleep here tonight, and in the morning, we're going to resolve the issue one way or the other. If this Tov guy, my uncle, is going to redeem you and marry you, great. And if he's not going to agree to do it, if he's not going to want to do it, so I'm going to marry you, I'm going to be your savior. And he swore to her, Chai Hashem, which is very, very, very strong language, which we'll see in a second. And just stay here till the morning. Stay here till the morning for your own safety. Stay here till the morning so I don't need to walk you to the city, which is not, people will start talking. Now, interestingly enough, in this parsha that we're going to learn this Shabbos, on the portion of Shlishi, of Tuesday, which is today's portion, we're talking about Eliezer, right? Who is going to look for a wife for Rivka, for a wife for Yitzchak.
So it's the same Eliezer?
No.
You're talking about Eliezer?
No, we're not talking about Eliezer. So in that portion, he finally found her, drawing water from the well, and he says, "Do you have, does your parents have a place for us, lalin, to sleep, to stay, to be for?" Now Rashi is saying that usually you should say lalun, to stay, that's to sleep. It says lalun. Why does it say lalin? So Rashi is saying that lalin means one night. Lalun means multiple. So here, it just happens to be today, right? So here we say lini, one night, because he wants to tell her, listen, this is your last night as a single woman again.
And that's why it's enlarged?
That's why, so the noon, they are, we'll talk about the enlarged. So,
But he can't say linu to her, she's only a yachid.
no, but
Yeah,
lin instead of luni. Luni here, Alayla. Instead, the vav, the first you, the vav. So this is the last time we're going to resolve it in the morning. So don't worry, when you tell someone that it's happening, just wait a few hours. That's the anxiety level goes down dramatically. So the rabbis are learning from here a lot that how great Boaz was, that he was worried about her embarrassment, number one. He was giving her all the reasoning behind it. He was not just saying no. He was not. He couldn't say just I can't, or he was giving her. If you ask someone for something and they can't do it, or rather, if somebody asks you for something and you can't do it, you should give them the reason why. Don't just blow them off. This is a very very nice way of behaving. It's the rabbis are mentioning that in the Gemara. Now there is. Okay, we'll go a little longer, and then we'll talk in a second. Now this uppercase, this big nun rabati, the big nun. You have, by the way, in the entire Tanakh, you have a set of letters that is big and a set of letters that is small. Okay. And they teach us all kinds of things, and the big one obviously teaches us of big events, of substantial, important, something very, very special. And this was the night. This was a very special night because it says that this noon goes for the noon is 50, the 50 generations until Mashiach comes. It goes to what? Noon, the big noon.
Ours is not big, but it says
Yeah.
some places
That's a big llama.
But
But it mentions that could be
It's the big llama is not no, there is a big llama. Yeah, the big llama. Yeah. Anyway, there is something very interesting in Megillat Ruth. Megillat Ruth has 80 psukim. 80 psukim. And each one of those 80 psukim starts with the letter Vav. All of them.
Letter Vav?
Except a handful of them, including this one, which starts with a different letter. If you collect all the letters and you see, it says the name Yeshaya HaLevi, and which is the Shlo HaKadosh. And the Shla HaKadosh is, people say, is the neshama of Boaz. The same, the Shla is the neshama of Boaz. Now, if you're familiar, the Shla published a whole bunch of prayers and special prayers. One of them is a prayer for kids. which is recited on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, which is the time that this was happening, and that's the relationship of why the Shla revealed this and why we hook it up to Rosh Chodesh Sivan. It's all connected to the story of Ruth, to the story of Boaz. The Shla, Shnei Luchot HaBrit. What?
What's Shlach?
Shla.
What does it
It's
mean?
an acronym.
Shla. It's an acronym. Okay. This gentleman, his name is Yeshayahu ben Avraham Alevi. Yeshaya ben Avraham Alevi. He wrote a book called Shnei Luchot HaBrit.
Okay.
And the Rashi Tevot of those books, the acronym is Shla. So we call him the Shla Kodesh. And he and the Rambam and the Alshich are published books with very, very presumptuous names. Mishneh Torah, like the second to Torah, or Divrei Moshe, the words of Moshe, the Alshich, and Shnei Luchot HaBrit, that's the Shla. There's three gentlemen in our past that wrote amazing books, and they gave them very strong names. There were some were criticizing them for calling those books by that name. The Rambam especially got a good beating for calling it Mishneh Torah. Anyway,
Coming back, excuse me. You said every sentence I've noticed I looked that's true begins with a vav. Why? What's the purpose of it? Or significance?
the significance of Vav is the most common beginning of any pasuk. The significance are the ones that are not
Okay.
with Vav.
Every column in the
Every column in
Torah,
Sefer Torah except Azinu and Bereshis and Az Yoshir, I think, and a couple others are starting with the Vav. Yeah, it's
for continuity.
Vav in general in Chassidus, in Kabbalah, Vav represent coming down. That this is Torah from God that came down to this world and stayed at the same state of it as it is up there in spiritual worlds. It's here. It didn't change. It doesn't. That's why it's the Torah will never change. The Torah will never be mukhlefet. We cannot say, oh, it's 2018. What are you doing? These old things. We will see soon how very specific halachot that has to do with our pasuk, with these psukim, are so 2018. Whoa, it's like scary. So let's just do one more pasuk and then we'll talk about those. So Vatishkav margelotav ad haboker. So she rested there until the morning. One more thing. Lini, I will in a second. So Vatishkav margelotav ad haboker. She rested there till the morning. Vatakam beterem. It's written betarom. Beterem yakir ish et re'ehu. She woke up very, very early. She was awakened up by Boaz very early, before people can recognize each other. It's so dark. They didn't have street lights at the time. Vayomer ali vadaki ba isha go, and he said, who did he say it to? We'll answer in a second. That basically go home, so nobody will know that you came here, because again, people talk, and there will be chilul Hashem, and his status as a shofet is not really nice for the people to know that they're, the top leaders are having women in a barn in the middle of the night. It's not fitting. Ain't fitting. Now, who did he say it to? So it says that he said it to his, to one of his guys. Initially, we thought that he was alone. That's what I thought, at least, that he was alone. Apparently, there was also outside of the barn some guys there the workers, or one of the head of the workers was there. So he told him, keep it quiet, because he heard them talking, and he knew that his boss is not talking to himself on a regular basis. So he's talking to someone. So he knew that she came. So that's now. Now it says that it was so early that even if it's so dark that even if the person is your friend, you can recognize him. It's special darkness.
Yes.
It's
Like
much
an
earlier
like an
than you.
elephant's rhyme.
Yeah, much earlier than usual. What?
It was new moon. It was the moonlight.
There was whatever, maybe, I don't know. So now, this whole set of psukim has double and triple meaning. We're going to first just mention briefly the double meaning. I don't know if how long we may go back to it, but the double meaning is that it's talking about the Geulah, because here this is the night where, right, the night before she and Boaz and Ruth got married and secured the redemption of Am Yisrael with David HaMelech and with Mashiach. Okay, basically that's the night before. And so the whole discussion about Geulah, there is here a lot of words that variation of Geulah, that if that they all discuss, they're just like when we talk about the Megillah, Megillat Esther, we're saying that every time that it says Amelech means God. Here, every time that it says will redeem you, it's also God. That's the second meaning. Everything is also pshat, obviously, but the second meaning is that we're talking about God. That God will redeem us. And even if we don't deserve it, God will redeem us. Meaning, even if He wouldn't want to redeem us because we don't deserve it, He will still redeem us. So, that's very comforting. They say that the word lini is the end of the 4 different exiles. The 4 different exiles are Bavel, Madai, Yavan, and Romi, right? Bavel, Madai, which is next door to Yavan, which is next door to Iraq, Yavan, which is Greek, Romi, which is Rome, and the Rashi Tevot at the end is Lini, which again, that's representing the problem. And whenever we talk about night and day in Judaism, it means exile and redemption. We learn in Chassidus and Coffee in the morning on Shabbos about the korbanot. So it will burn all night until the morning. This is what will burn all night. This is how we daven today. We daven at night, we daven in the morning, and we're going to do these type of davening until Mashiach comes. So during darkness, when we're in exile, we don't actually bring the real korban. We bring our words instead. So night and day represent exile and redemption here as well. But I want to leave that for a second and ask a question which is very, very fundamental, and sort of I think somebody, one of you Nelsons asked it the other day. How can a man and a woman be alone in a barn together? There is the issue of yichud, right? A man and a woman, typically, which are not married to each other, should not be together alone. Definitely not at night. Definitely not for a whole for that length of time, a whole night in a few hours.
Somebody was there. Yeah.
He was outside. That's just one opinion. That was one opinion, and he was outside. They still were inside, but how could they have been alone? And how did she plan it? How did Naomi plan it? She wouldn't know if he's going to be. She thought he's going to be alone.
They left the barn door.
So let's just talk a little bit about Isur Yichud for a second. So just summary of that. The original Isur Yichud is that someone who's not allowed to marry, a man who's not allowed to marry that woman because she's the sister of his wife, because she's his mother, not mother, she's aunt is allowed, but she's is
I thought an uncle is allowed, but an aunt is not.
No, you're right. An aunt is not allowed. So, if he's not allowed to marry her, they cannot stay alone together for enough time that can be considered, that they have had a relationship.
But if he can marry, he can stay alone?
Right. If he
Makes sense.
Okay, so don't do it. But originally the halacha is that if they can get married, meaning he was never married, she was never married, they're not relative, they can get married, they can stay alone. That's the original halacha. Now the exception with the relatives is a mother and her son, or a father and his daughter, obviously allowed to stay alone even though they're not allowed to get married to each other, right? Exactly. So panui, it's called panui and pnuya. They can stay together, no problem. That was the halacha until the story of Amnon and Tamar. The story of Amnon and Tamar is the continuation of the story of David and Bathsheba. David saw this beautiful woman, Bathsheba, who going to be the mother of Shlomo eventually, right? And he took her in, and they had a relationship, and she got pregnant, and she realized she's married to Uriah, and he sent him to get killed. He was heavily criticized for it, and typically when someone steals something, they have to pay double. If you steal $10, you have to pay $20. So he was told, and he said that he's going to pay 4 times. He did a lot of tshuva, and was very upset about it, and he's going to pay 4 times.
That's Boaz.
No. David HaMelech. So David HaMelech was punished with 4 terrible, terrible punishments. The son that, the first son that Bathsheba gave him died. And then the following story occurred. Amnon was the son of David from a woman called Achinoam. Then David also had a daughter called Tamar from another woman called Ma'acha. Some say she wasn't even his daughter, but she grew up in the house. This Tamar lady was extremely beautiful, and Amnon really liked her and wanted her, and was campaigning to get her, and he.
So there was a
Half sister.
Half sister,
half
half siblings, at most half. Some say not at all. And he really wanted her, and he became sick, physically sick, love struck, whatever it's called, and he couldn't. So his nephew gave him a suggestion: make believe that you are sick, and that the only thing that you want is that Tamar is going to cook for you her latkes, levivot. Seriously. She did a very, a good job on levivot. Matzah bra, really, it was bread that was fried bread. It wasn't a latkes from potatoes. It was really from fried bread. And she did it in a special way. He loved it. So he made himself sick, or said that's what he wants. So they came to visit him. His father came to visit him. And he said he needs to have that levivot. So they brought Tamar. And then he said that he needs to see that she is doing it. That she's doing it in his room. He got to make sure that somehow he got everybody kicked out of the room and stayed alone with her. And she did the levivot for him. But obviously that wasn't enough, and that wasn't the plan. So he wanted to have a relationship with her, and she said, listen, I'm not a prostitute. If you want to marry me, let's talk to Daddy. Let's talk to David HaMelech, and get his agreement, and let's marry we allowed, because we're not from the same mother. So let's, or we're not relative at all, and let's just get married normally.
Wait, what are the forbidden marriages?
They are from the Min Torah, Min Rabbanan. That was a solution, a way out at the time, for them to.
But I mean, a step sibling, they're not permitted to marry. Isn't that among the list of?
They are prohibition Min Rabbanan, and the prohibition biblical one that's written in the Torah. That is not.
Not when latkes are.
And and you have latkes. It's a whole story of the latkes. So.
And
the bottom line is that, and he refused, he doesn't want to wait, he raped her there on the spot. So when he raped her there on the spot, she said, okay, now you're really going to marry me. I'm not going to walk around, damage goods, and it's not going to happen. You're going to marry me. And she insisted that he's going to marry her, he's going to go to David and tell him the truth, and he became on the spot enraged and started hating her. As much as he wanted her before, he now hated her. And he was totally, became loony and threw her out of the room. He called one of his, he was supposedly sick, right? So he called one of his housekeepers and made them throw her out of the room, and he locked the room and he wouldn't let her in. So she saw that, that's what happened. So she was wearing a nice Armani dress, Kotonet Pasim, very, very beautiful. She tore her dress, put ashes on her head, and walked out and screamed that it's, this is what he did to me. Avshalom was her brother from both father and mother. Avshalom was the Majinka, the little boy, right? The youngest son of David, who ended up later being killed in the war. Anyway.
His hair.
What?
With his hair.
Yeah, he was caught with his hair, right? That's the same Avshalom. So he told her, hush, don't make a big balagan. Let's just keep it in the house. He was not telling her what his plan was. And he got her to be quiet. And his plan was to kill Amnon, who later on he actually did. He arranged, there was a party, a shearing celebration when they sheared the animals, the lambs, right? So he made a party, and he invited his father David to come. David said no, it wasn't for him at the time. So he said, so at least send Amnon as a representative. He sent Amnon, and then he told his avadim, his helpers over there, to get him drunk, and once he's drunk, to beat him up to death, and that's what happened. He killed Amnon, and then Avshalom runs away to Egypt, stayed there for 3 years until he was admitted back, was requested back by whatever. So David, for his problem, got four different punishments. The daughter of, but the son of Bathsheba, that was the child of Bathsheba, died. Tamar was raped. Amnon was killed, and later on Avshalom was killed. He lost 4 children for this problem, for this infraction. Terrible, terrible situation. Now, we see that Amnon, between the time that Amnon raped her and died, there was a period of time, and David did not do anything to Amnon, because apparently did not have the moral authority to say anything when he himself was not acting 100% in that way. So he didn't do anything to him. But David HaMelech tried to fix this problem for years to come, and he and his Beis Din, his court, made a decree that a unmarried man and unmarried woman cannot be in yichud together, cannot be in one room at the same time together alone. If they have other people, it's a whole. By the way, just so you know, one man with multiple women is not allowed. Multiple men with one woman with multiple men is not allowed. There are differences between Sephardic and Ashkenazim in that. Some allow some of that, some not. But the bottom line is that it became more and more of a strict situation. And in this day and age, in Orthodoxy, it's very, very strict, and it's not happening. Yichud, and it's a big thing. And that started at the time of David HaMelech. Why am I telling you this whole story? Because we are 3 generations before that. So at that time, Panui and Pnuya, an unmarried man and an unmarried woman, were allowed to be together. That's how come, and it was common, and it was not a problem. That's how come is, they
did nothing bad.
They did nothing bad.
Then
Now,
why would they be so worried about anybody finding out?
Oh, because
People talk.
people talk. And talking, it's a different story. It's a different problem. Talking is a different problem. They didn't do anything wrong, but people talking that's Chilul Hashem. Now, here's we're saying about double meaning. So we have here Chai Hashem. We have the shvuah, the swearing, the oath that Boaz is making to her to take care of her. So the rabbis are saying that it was a double oath. That the oath was also for himself not to touch her. Because they're now together till the morning, that's 6 hours, and it's midnight till 6 o'clock, till the morning, it's several hours. So he made an oath to keep himself from doing something wrong. Why is it not enough to say, okay, I won't do something wrong? Why did he need an oath to stop him from doing something wrong?
Because it may not have been the Yetzirah.
The Yetzirah, okay, but how is the oath? If the Yetzirah. So let me tell you the details of that.
Midrash.
Not a medrash. Those halachot. There is the Rambam is published the halachot of the oath, Ilchot Shvuot, and Ilchot Shvuot is a 12 chapters long thing. But at the end, he's telling us how the difference between a vow and an oath is basically similar halachot. It's just that an oath is with the name of God, and a vow is not. A vow is I will not. A vow. A vow. I'm sorry. A vow is that I will not eat falafel. That's a vow. Okay. I'm not going to eat falafel. But an oath is in the name of God. I'm not going to eat falafel. That's an oath. So when oath is also being used, when someone is claiming certain status of the law, in order to believe him and there are no witnesses, they have to take an oath. And they let's say if somebody owes money, said I don't know, so I owe a part, whatever. So take an oath that you don't. So when they take an oath, they take an oath with the name of God, and the court is telling the people, this is just so you know, you can't just lie and take an oath, because the whole world was shaken when God told Moshe, "Lo tisai shem Hashem Elokecha lashav," right? Not to swear in vain is the second is in the Ten Commandments, right? And it says all of the averot, all of the sins in the Torah, it says v'nakeh, but here it says lo yanakeh. Here, all of the averot can be expunged. This cannot. All of the averot of the Torah, if somebody did something wrong, so he is getting punished. With an oath, he and his family getting punished, and all of the Jews are guarantors to each other, and God forbid can suffer from it. All of the Jews, all of the sins, a person can sin, and then God is going to punish only the kids or the grandchildren, 2 or 3 generations, sometimes, if they have merit, if they have enough merit. But here in taking an oath in vain with the name of God, the punishment is right away. And then there is, it says if somebody did an oath, if somebody did swore with the name of God in vain, it's Chilul Hashem. So even though there is no death penalty and there is no karet bidei shamayim, they're just getting lashes, but it's the biggest averah from all of the averot because it has Chilul Hashem. And a person has to be to guard themselves from this kind of a sin more than any other sins. So when he says, Chai Hashem, I'm swearing with the name of God, I'm not going to touch her, that is already something that he is not, that the Yetzer Hara is not going to play with. He can't, he's just not going to do that because he knows the severity. So even if the Yetzer Hara can tell, she's not married, and she's pretty, and she's here, and she came for you, and you're going to get married with her tomorrow anyway because this guy is not going to want, and you're going to finagle, all of these stories, it's very easy for people to think that way, for someone in this position to think that way, and nobody knows, nobody will know. But if he swore, it's not going to happen. So that's the reason he swore. Anyway,
Can you swear without using God's name?
So-
It's considered a swear?
it's less. It's less of a swear. It's way, way, way less
More
severe.
than an oath, but less than a swear?
It's a vow. You mean? It's a vow. Without the name of God, it's a vow. I shall not do this.
So that's why when one is in court, you
put your
cannot
hand up.
swear to tell the truth.
Exactly. You affirm. When I became a citizen, I couldn't say I
That's why
swear. I
was
can
asking,
say
What if I swear in court but I don't use God's name? Why do I have to avow?
because they put your hands on the Bible, and in their mind you swore in the name of God. Even if it's in their mind, the Chilul Hashem exists. So
When we had to go to the town hall to get permits for this building,
yeah,
my father-in-law, they let out a vow.
a vow. That's it. You go. All right. So wow, you were there. So yeah. So that's why when it happens to all of us Israelis that became citizens, we affirm. You don't. I do. Swear. So anyway. I think we should stop here. I think the rabbi is here. We will continue with the sort of wrapping up that morning event and sending her home with some goodies, with some barley, with some goodies. We will talk about that as well. All right.
Kasha.
Yeah, all right.